oh, I had to do this. I had to do this. This fucking shit. I really, really, really just had to do this. Why I love DC New 52 and why I fucking hate DC Rebirth. Or should I call it Rebirth trash? Because it's trash. Because it didn't stay long, and thank God it didn't. Because if it did, I probably would have never read another DC book. And I mean, never read a DC book ever again. Maybe Batman as an exception, but well, Batman has its limits now because I'm burnt out of Batman. But anyway, I mean, let's talk about the books I loved about New 52 and why I think it should have stayed and why I think that pretty much it died because of fucking bullshit fans, and that's it. And I don't give a fuck if you tell me, oh, DC had to go back where they belong. It had to. It had to. Because they were going downhill. Yeah, sure, right, buddy. When you have other companies take nostalgia characters, yeah, okay, that statement, that is true. But minus those, not really saying much. Um, but I mean, it's just, that is just saying a lot. But I'm going to go off my opinion. I'm pretty much going to state my whole fucking opinion because I had this whole mouth shut for this entire time. And when it died, I was so popping the champagne. I really was. Because I feel cheated out of something that could have been great, could have been really good, and could have been successful in the right way. But instead, they pretty much just crashed and burned. And like Alfred said, some men just want the world to burn. And that's what I want for DC. Just let it burn. And then when Marvel takes over, they can fix the fucking bullshit. Because Superman comics right now, oh God. And this is before Bendis. Oh, whew. Man, what a stinker. Oh, man. Just what a disaster that book was. And I'll give you credit, Ren. The Tom King Batman run was pretty damn good. It was probably the only good Rebirth book because all the Rebirth books that were non-catering, let's just say they died. But anyway, let's go off the DC New 52 books that I really enjoyed and really liked. The New 52 Justice League. Talk about a direction of introducing all the DC Justice League members, and they battled Darkseid. And it really was a fun story. That's the appealing to what I like. Fun stories that is action packed, excellent storytelling, knows exactly what it's trying to do, and honestly, it succeeds because in the in the next storylines, Trinity War and Evil, Forever Evil. Correcting myself, yeah, Forever Evil. That was a good fucking event, and you had it where fucking Darkseid came along back in the very end of Jim Lee and Jeff Johns' whole run on Justice League, where you had the Darkseid War, you had the whole battle with the anti-nominator and all that stuff, and it gets all crazy and it teases the future, and it is what it is on that. But it's just, it built on something, and plus we had a relationship between Superman and Wonder Woman that DC's been trying to do for so many years, and they just never could have done it. They never could have done it because if they did, it wouldn't make sense, and that's it. Here in this continuity, not only it makes sense, but he hasn't been with Lois. He pretty much hasn't got a relationship. He just does his normal thing of saving the day, and that's really it. And Wonder Woman, let's just say, had the hots for fucking Superman, and things happen, and the whole Wonder Woman warrior aspect in her book, and then eventually getting a new costume was just so goddamn good. Oh yeah, that too. And you had all this stuff, and it's like, wow, this is great, this is awesome. I don't know what happened. Why did they not grow with this relationship? Why did they not have where let's humanize Wonder Woman and Superman? Let's humanize these characters to where they're likable. Let's humanize them to where you could buy their fucking relationship. But no. What's that word? Let's have all the DC fans shit on them, pretty much do everything they can just to say it was a bad decision just because they wanted to have their fucking piss poor relationship. Bullshit reasons. Kind of reminds me another character, a web slinger from the other side. Yeah, it just reminds me of that whole thing. Then after that, we have the amazing run on Gail Simone's Batgirl run, which honestly hasn't, in my opinion, that run and before the other runs, like the Cassie Kane and Stephanie Brown books, were phenomenal. Those first 3 volumes, I think the first, I think that was the first 4 or first 3 volumes of, and when I mean volumes, I mean runs. And you had those runs, and they're the best Batgirl run, and you have those books be the top. And every Batgirl that's lived up to Gail Simone, crashed and burned. Now, granted, I didn't try DC Rebirth Batgirl, and I haven't planned to because it wasn't there. It wasn't really interesting. I mean, granted, I liked her new costume, but that's not saying much. But it's just that the facts are, it is what it is. The only book I liked, but granted, it's in the down the list, was the Nightwing book. It was a good book, good stuff. Wait, what was this? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. That's the thing. I mean, like, just I think changing her costume was stupid. That's just one of my biggest dislikes that they did. But that was all in DCU. I really enjoyed her first New 52 costume, which it's kind of funny that Batman, no, 3 Jokers, the 3 Jokers storyline, correct myself, brought back somewhat of her New 52 costume, which was like, oh, we're going back to that costume again. That's cool. And now we're going to have some new costume, which, whatever, on the Nightwing book. I haven't read it, and I don't really plan to. And I'll get on why I feel this way and why really just ultimately my love of DC is dead in a really good nutshell. But let's go on to more of the other books that I really enjoyed. The Teen Titans. Talk about drastically change something. Now, granted, they took some of the members that was in the last run. That was the Jeff Johns and a bunch of other writers. That was the 3rd volume of Teen Titans. And they had similar lineup, but they had new characters along with it. And I'm sure it is. Tom Taylor's fucking the man. But it is what it is. But I'll explain why. But later, and I mean later. But anyway, back to the main topic. So you have the new Teen Titans book, and its first storyline was very fun. Yet again, like the Justice League book, very fun and enjoyable, and knew exactly what it was trying to do. You had these group of characters meeting up, and they had to fight a couple of villains and also get to know each other on top of that too. And you go forward with that direction. Later on, you get to know Cassie and her origin story in the new continuity. You get the new fucking correct myself. You get the new origin for the whole Tim Drake storyline, which honestly, I like that origin a lot because he was not Robin. He was trying to be respectful to Jason Todd, and that's why he was called Red Robin. And reducing that and just literally, that's not canon, just to appeal the piece of shit fans that hated the New 52, that hated every little thing of these new characters literally had in this new era. It is saying fucking a lot. It's just saying a lot. Let's go on. Supergirl. Talk about the most best shit ever. Now, granted, Supergirl is always fun in my opinion. You have the previous run. She did some crazy shit, and it was really fun. Overall, it was really fun. But in this New 52, when she meets up with her cousin, she fucking fights him. And it was literally, and Superman's just trying to hold back. He's trying so hard not to fight him, not to fight her. And she's using all of her powers, and she doesn't understand what the hell's going on. She doesn't believe Krypton is destroyed. And then later on, you find out later that it is destroyed, and she gets heartbroken. She gets more matured, and eventually she gets the Red Lantern ring, and I'm like, oh, so good. So good. I love you. Oh, man, it was so goddamn good. It was fun. It was something refreshing. And yeah, granted, she was a little bit of a bitch, but you know, granted, she's a teenager. You get the appeal, what she is. You had it where she hooked up with that one fucking Superman villain that was in the Superman comics. He had long hair. Fuck, Ren, can you help me on this one? What was this? Oh yeah, that too. Oh, that yeah, I agree. They should have given him a new book. That should have happened. That I think personally would have sold a lot more money, because you would have had people buying into that whole thing along with the new Teen Titans books. But besides all that shit, let's go on. But she fell in love with the Superman villain that was an event comic that pretty much tied towards Action Comics and the main Superman book and Superboy, and along with Supergirl. And pretty much she kind of fell in love with this villain, and Superman had a hard time dealing with her and that one villain. I forget his name. But besides all that, and speaking about Superman, that's the guy. That's the fucking guy. Him. I liked him too, and I thought he was a really cool new villain. But the new Superman comics from the New 52 were really good. It's just, and I would say they're good now because the trash that we have now. And I'm going to go into it right now. Killing off the New 52 Superman just because you want to basically get that OTS Extalgia Goggles piece of shit trash book because you dislike the New 52 is saying a lot. And I'm saying this right now. Why, in God's name, do we have to do that direction? We could have done that in the main Superman that we got. It's more like, I feel like DC gave up on trying to push this, and I mean push this version on DC Comics, and they pretty much make a loophole to where, oh yeah, let's bring in the pre-52 Superman and make it where he was here this entire time. Makes no sense whatsoever. And it makes it where, okay, pretend, and I'm going to use this for example, let's have it where Ultimate Peter Parker died, and let's have the Renew Your Vows continuity merged with the Ultimate Universe, and you had Peter and Mary Jane along with their child in the continuity of the Ultimate Universe. Not only you'll be wasting that character, that version, but you will be pissing people off that invested their time with this character. And lo and behold, they did that with Blaze of Glory, and nobody bitched. It was like, go ahead and do it. I don't care. And that's why I don't read Superman comics. I'm like, you know what? For that very reason, I don't read Superman comics. I don't. And, you know, the rest is history from there. But besides all that stuff, I really enjoyed a lot of the things from New 52 Superman. It was really good. They had their own origin story. Lex Luthor was really good. Just overall, it felt like your typical Superman run, but in a newer fashion. And it was really refreshing a lot of times. Superboy, I'm a little like whatever on that one. Superboy was just weird. It was my least favorite book. I would say fucking Red Hood and the Outlaws were a lot better than the Superboy comics. But granted, they did have their moments with the whole meeting with Supergirl and that. But yet again, that too. The biggest mistake, that they depowered him, or should I say, took his powers away, made him more human. But yet again, you can make him human with his powers. It made no sense. It made no fucking sense. Take away his powers, ruin the relationship between Wonder Woman and him, and pretty much have it where they break up. And they were teasing, oh yeah, they were going to get married later on if his powers didn't turn off. And it's just like, oh my god, you had to do it. And also, I learned I found out that there were plans to do Donna Troy as the daughter for Superman and Wonder Woman, making where she's the first hybrid Amazon/Kryptonian. And I was like, oh, okay, that would have been a cool concept. Yeah, I agree. I mean, and I think it made sense to depower them to show. Oh yeah, that I agree on that level. But yet again, you could have had him somewhat have his humanity to where you see him mature. That's something I would have liked. But the problem is, and this is my biggest issue with DC Comics now, we're wrapping this whole thing up. Aquaman was great. Fucking what else? Gotham Academy, one of the few good DC U-books, was really interesting. I really wish they could have pushed a lot more with that, and I love the artwork. It was really good. Wait, hold on. Superman fit with Superman was fit. He wasn't great without us. Yeah, I agree. Oh, dude. Well, true, but yet again, I feel like they could have done more with it. I feel like they could have done more, and they could have made it work. That's something I would have liked. I mean, granted, yeah, that is true. She looked at him like a god, but yet again, she's a god as well. So I mean, like, to be fair, it made sense. That's just how I see it. But I mean, I hate wasting uh, people's time. And the Batman books, mainly Batman Eternal, the main Batman book, all the way up to Endgame, and then it crashed and burned with the whole Commissioner Gordon crap. But the Batman and Robin stuff, that was pretty cool. Having where Batman took, I hate to say it, I feel like Batman took Iron Man's notebook and make his own Dark Side Buster armor, and I'm like, oh, what is this? Batman trying to steal Iron Man's notes? That was pretty funny. And also the whole Damian having powers and all that stuff was really cool. I liked it a lot. And I do like what they were doing on a lot of directions on Damian in the New 2, and hell, even the DC Rebirth books to an extent. But I mean, that crashed and burned. And granted, if you ask me, I feel like if they wanted to kill off Batman, they should have had a time gap to where 5 years later, and you had Damian already grown up, or you had where Dick Grayson becomes Batman again, reveals to everyone, surprise everyone, I'm still alive, buddy. Batman told me I got to do this, and this, and this, and he's dead. I got to be Batman. I got to take over his work again. And you go forward with that whole shit. And granted, you would have nobody fucking saying a word. I would have loved it. People would have loved it. Everyone will love the shit out of it. Granted, there would be a group of audience that would hate that trash. But yet again, it is what it is. You would introduce Cassie and Steffi Brown, and later on have them be fucking Batgirl and whatever else. But I mean, I feel like at the ending of New 52, it really just, it died like a whimper. And it really upset me. It really upset me because this was their, in a way, their ultimate universe of Marvel. They're responding towards Marvel of their new edgy, darker direction. And I wouldn't love it, but I didn't like. Yeah, I didn't. Well, granted, I mean, well, true. Yeah, that's true. Granted, I can't say you're wrong on that argument, but I feel like it made sense to where he's worthy. And like, granted, what I would have wanted is to have where eventually you would have had it where Damian's old enough to take the mantle of Batman. That's what I was really hoping for, because I like the storyline to where there was this one storyline that DC did when they killed off Damian, which was, I'm gonna say this right now, the whole storyline with the death of the whole part where Damian died was a very much like, whoa, that's almost like holy shit moment. And then after that, you had it where fucking Superman, no, not Superman, fucking Batman lost his shit. And the whole Bat family was very hurt by that. They did a storyline to where it was a what if story. What if Damian was still alive? And granted, you can make it canon. You can make it canon to the DC universe. All you had to do was a few things and made that shit canon. And that book was called Damian, Son of Batman. And it was a really fucking good story. And it was a good direction to where I'm like, I would love to have this to be canon. And I would love to have it. I really would. But granted, can't have that. We gotta have Damian be a little kid all the time. Granted, to be fair, I even thought he would be great as the Arkham Knight if they ever decide to do it. Now watch, DC will make that shit happen. Watch, just watch, Ren. Just watch. That shit will make that crap happen. And I'm gonna roll my eyes and I'm gonna say, God damn it, fucking DC, you stole my idea. I want my credit back. I want my paycheck, DC. But anyway, but I feel like the whole New 52 ended on a whimper, and it really just upset me. It really upset me because you're telling me this entire time we wasted this entire new continuity, new origins, new everything, and we just wasted our time. And we got rid of that shit just to cater to people. And I just back out on it. Now, granted, the Teen Titans books were really good. I'll give it that. Justice League of America was really damn good. But that's besides the point. I mean, when you have the main core DC universe mention, oh, remember the whole Stephanie Brown and Cassie Kane as Batgirl and Robin? Remember all the years of the good old days with the whole Wally and the Teen Titans and all that shit? I'm like, it was just forced. It was forced. It was like so desperate. Please like me. Please bite me. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to fucking buy your shit. I hated that crap. I hated that shit. And I really just, I really hated a lot of things from Rebirth. And in fact, it insulted my intelligence to where I quit reading DC. The only book that I was reading was the Tom King Batman run, because he had a pair of balls and literally did something to where, hey, let's have Batman and Catwoman get fucking married. Hey, let's do shit that people will like in the very fucking end. Now, granted, he did fucking ruin Wally, and just, I still don't understand why the hell he did that, but it's just, it is what it is on that, but it's just, and the whole Doomsday Clock was a complete waste. I really just, I'm like, okay, cool, but really it didn't make any sense until the very last issue. And it's like, oh, okay. Whatever. That's just how I looked at it. And it was a great run on New 52, but man, it died like a whimper. Because every hated DC Rebirth trash literally shit on it and went out of their way to get their fat ass wish. I mean, I'm going to say this right now. For all you DC Rebirth fans, hope you're happy. You got the worst direction by far. I knew this shit was going to be a short term, and it was just stupid. It was dumb. And I really just, I'm going to be honest saying this, I hated a lot of things. I rest my case. I mean, I hated the fact they keep mentioning the older continuity. I hated the fact that they cave into the haters. And it really, it just upsets me to where I feel like I wasted my time. But it's okay. I got the books I got. I just won't buy any more. I'm just going to go buy Marvel, IDW, Image, any other company. Because once, and I'm going to say this, once you give a mouse a cookie, he's going to get a glass of milk. The rest is history from there. And people, I'm going to say this right now. Ren, you think the Snyder fans are bad? Bitch, the Rebirth tards are even worse. I'm just saying. Anyway, I got to get going.